If you're looking to be disappointed this year, shout out Bills fans, then I recommend playing Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Call of Duty 4 was one of the most innovative titles of its time, 2007, including things like a custom class system, ability to prestige, leveling system, weapon customization. If there was a Call of Duty Mount Rushmore, one could argue Call of Duty 4 deserves a spot. And if you're still looking to play this game in 2024, you'll be happy to see that there's a pretty decent player base still playing the game, though this number can be incorrect because of how you consistently get into lobbies with the same players. Did Call of Duty 4 have some sort of skill-based matchmaking system? Maybe, maybe not. This game did come out the same year as the B movie, so standards are pretty low here. Also because it feels like the math doesn't math with these playlist counts. Regardless, you find a match pretty quick, but here are your problems. A, you have bush campers, and B, you have hackers. The original Call of Duty 4 had an interesting color palette of 50 Shades of Sadness. It's a pretty colorless game, allowing for players to lurk in corners or bush monsters to pitch a tent, easy, and follow the you can't see them, but they can see you method. To potentially combat this, the multiplayer features a night vision goggle mechanic, making things easier to see in the darker areas, though this does lead to a little bit of a problem.
There's so many fucking sweet visual filters that I can't see shit! That means the snap kicks ass! Wow!
Not only will you basically blind yourself, but you still can't see shit with these things on, so you're basically just gonna end up turning up your brightness on your monitor with the hopes of potentially seeing some of these corner campers. In terms of the hackers, it felt like every other game I got into featured some sort of hacker, but it was either someone using an aimbot or someone giving me a free mod menu with no in between. Look, if you want to cheat in a video game, go for it, but make it fun for everyone, don't be selfish. It is weird going into games because even when there's a full lobby, it's just basically crickets. No one talks and no one wants to talk, which this might be the boomer in me, but back in my day, players would consistently trash talk one another because again, back in my day, Xbox Live was just the wild, wild west. Now you have these code of conducts and ban hammers for trash talking players. What a joke.
I will fuck you, alright? I will enter you.
Maybe my trash talk needs a little bit of work. Call of Duty 4 does come with some pretty iconic maps. Crash, Vacant, Strike, fucking Shipment are all maps that have returned at some point and remain some of the game's most iconic. The custom class system brought us a unique way to build our own loadouts for each engagement we would experience in the multiplayer. For instance, some people would like using things like, I don't know, the M16 was stopping power in Deep Impact, which was the meta before meta was basically even a thing. The best part about the game though, in my personal opinion, was the prestige system. Some of you Zoomers may not remember this, but the prestige system was an optional progression system for the player to challenge themselves by resetting their rank and removing any and all unlocks, getting you all the way back to level 1, allowing the player to progress all over again, basically having this sort of badge of honor, getting themselves to 10th prestige. It's a challenge that has since been removed for season prestige, barf, and should, in my opinion, make its way back at some point. Please. I don't really recommend buying the DLC for this game, by the way. Not that I don't find it good, but it'll just end up screwing up your matchmaking and making the game, again, unplayable. And while Call of Duty 4 is playable when you're trying to find a lobby, things like the player count, hackers, bush monsters, and issues with the DLC do make the game a bit tough to play. If you want my recommendation though, play Modern Warfare Remastered. You're still getting that Call of Duty 4 experience, but it's just more modernized, with better graphics, brighter maps, new weapons, a balanced supply drop system, and character customization. But if you're looking for that nostalgia, then just go with Call of Duty 4, I guess. Just go for a couple matches and then back out. But really, a shout out to the developers for re-releasing a map pack that is as old as dirt for the same price as it was the year it came out. If that's not greed, I don't know what is. And if you do struggle to play any bit of the multiplayer, I highly recommend playing the campaign. It's by far one of the most fun campaigns in Call of Duty history. One in which I made an entire video going over each and every mission from the game, which kind of gives me an idea. FNG literally stands for fucking new guy because, well, you're obviously the new guy. You play as Ramirez, Ghost, Rad Roach, I can't keep track of all these different code names. The player will spawn into a firing range where they meet Gaz, spoilers, whose sole purpose besides getting beamed by Zakhaev is to teach the player how to shoot a weapon or silence fruit.
Nice. Your fruit killing skills are remarkable.
If you're curious at all how the shooting mechanics in this game work, like it's any different than any other Call of Duty out there, then let me help you. L1 points the business end of the gun down range, R1 is the action to shoot, or L2, R2 depending on your settings. Listen man, I'm a bumper jumper. With the brand new remaster, you'll find the base littered with training courses for the player to experience, such as explosive training where the instructor speaks about his failed marriage.
It seems my ex-wife was kind enough to donate her car to furthering your education, so... Fire in the hole!
or an obstacle course, which is fun. After completing the optional training course, the player will come across Price and a couple others where the random NPCs inform Price that this character's name is Soap.
Right. What the hell kind of name is Soap, eh? How'd a muppet like you pass selection?
You'll go on to complete the cargo ship training course, and depending on your use of Brocane, you'll have two ways of playing it. 1. Not going hard and just achieving veteran and walking away. Or 2, going full MLG and blitzing through the course like your life depends on it. Once fully satisfied with your time, that you will probably end up just putting on your LinkedIn profile, John, Soap makes his way to the viewing station with Price and the NPCs for a debrief. Crew Expendable, hashtag ride choppers win gunfights. Price, spoilers, Soap, spoilers, Gaz, spoilers, and some NPCs, spoilers, stealthily infiltrate a ship containing a nuclear device. Price and Soap clear the main deck, while also killing people in their sleep. That needs to be like a war crime or something, or some sort of moral conflict, I don't know. Gaz and 2 others rappel from a chopper, which confuses me because it has a spotlight, meaning it is the biggest dead giveaway you could ever see. After eliminating 2 blind deaf guys and a bit of whatever the British equivalent of taxpayer freedom is, Gaz, Price, and Soap move further in the ship in search of the nuclear device. Checking corners, flashbangs that would make even Stevie Wonder squint, and shooting bad guys, Soap, Price, and Gaz find the nuclear device, only taking the manifest and making their way to the exit. Quick shout out to Gaz for giving us a status update on the Call of Duty franchise in 2022.
The ship's sinking! We've got to go now!
Another shout out to the developers of this remaster because goddamn does Price look great in this lighting. Anyways, the team flees the boat in what is one of the most intense sections of video games ever, forcing Soap to jump onto the helicopter with Price just barely catching Soap before falling into the ocean because you never want to be the one to, you know, drop the soap. Am I right? Am I right? The Coup. Sit back and relax for the public execution of the century. You play as Al-Fulani, and by play, I mean sit in the backseat of a car to see a bunch of war crimes go on. For context, Al-Fulani was the president of Saudi Arabia, with the big bads nicknamed the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse according to the Call of Duty Wiki. Dope name, by the way. Taking over and bringing Al-Fulani to an arena for public execution. As mentioned, you'll be in a car for the entire mission with some guy in Victor Zakhaev while watching all these different awful war crimes unfold. Once you arrive at the arena, Al-Fulani is, well, censored to protect my revenue and any other things like that. Blackout. Save Russian JFK who has been captured by the, Russians? Allow me to explain. Russia is currently divided by 2 different factions. The good Russians, called loyalists or nationalists, who are led by Kamarov. These Russians are loyal to the current Russian government. And then you have the ultra-nationalists, who are led by the sickly named Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. These guys aren't loyal to Russia and want to bring Russia back to its former glory of starving its people and forcing labor. Price, Gaz, and Soap move through a riverbank where they encounter and dispose of bad Russians. This can be done by either silent takedown or use of explosives. Eventually the group gets a strong whiff of cheap vodka, leading to Kamarov and his men exposing themselves, no offense to Deshaun Watson, and lead the team to the village where Russian JFK is being held. After providing a bit of support via 7.62 NATO round and eliminating helicopter crews, Gaz threatens to throw Kamarov off a ledge because Price, Gaz, and Soap would rather save JFK than support the entire Russian nationalist cause. Selfish prick. A bit of repelling occurs, more eliminating where Price and Soap use a bit of night vision to eliminate more bad Russians. JFK is located and saved, where he is taken to a helicopter, warning the crew that the impending American invasion to capture al-Assad will not go the way they want.
Now go sit in the corner.
Charlie Don't Surf. American begins its invasion of Saudi Arabia in search of al-Assad. Will it go well? Probably not. Spoilers. You play as Paul Jackson, a probably normal dude just trying to do what he believes is right, which will probably result in another Jackson's life being cut short. Jackson, a guy named Vasquez, and some American GIs who aren't going to die and lead to the development of a madman, spoilers, move towards the target building where al-Assad is believed to be held up. After clearing the building, there's a plot twist. He isn't there. Fast forward through some tight engagements, the team comes up on a broadcast station, the BCH TV station for you Warzone stands. More fighting happens where the players meet a new character named Griggs, spoilers. Jackson and team reach where al-Assad is probably broadcasting from, only to find, plot twist, he isn't there. It's actually some tape on loop. Greg plays a song featuring copyright, and the team ends up moving out to help some tank. The Bog. Rescue a tank crew before it's too late. Jackson, Griggs, and a whole new swole as fuck Vasquez come under fire from enemy forces. Jackson must go full X Games mode and clear both buildings, which is done through the power of Tom Brady's inspirational text messages. Jackson and his soon-to-be radiation-poisoned comrades fight more bad guys while using a javelin to destroy some tanks. Making their way to the tank, the team fights even more bad guys where the power of freedom and taxpayer dollars prevails over the opposing forces. God, I love this country. Meeting back at the tank, the team comes up with a plan to defend the tank and push on ahead. The Hunted. Soap, Price, Gaz, and Nikolai are shot down somewhere in Russia, with Russian forces converging on their position. To keep it brief, the team saves some old fart, gets caught by a patrol, engages some bad Russians, takes down a chopper, Soap takes down a chopper because God forbid anyone else but the main character does anything heroic. Then AC-130 rains down some goddamn freedom that may have cured my erectile dysfunction. Death from above. Use a plane equipped with the shells the size of Ron Jeremy's appendage. Protect Price, Soap, Gaz, and Nikolai as they make their way to the extraction site. Make sure you don't hit the church because it results in a mission failed. Level everything else, even though this is like 2007, because not everything was able to collapse. Once done, Price, Gaz, and Soap will evacuate to safety. Yay.
You know I love that shit!
War Pig. Not to be confused with War Dogs, which is about a fat Jonah Hill and the guy my wife keeps saying that she wished I looked like. Taking place the morning after the bog, Jackson, Griggs, and Dwayne the Stonehenge Johnson come under fire from bad guys. With the tank now operational, the team makes its way to somewhere. Objective unclear. You have a tank. Who cares? Escort the tank further into the city while engaging more and more bad guys. Swolkez shows off his brute strength by pushing a dumpster for cover, and the tank destroys another tank with your boys cheering. Jackson and company make their way to the extraction site nearby to assist another team deeper in the city. Shock and awe. Jackson and company ride in a Chinook helicopter, utilizing a grenade launcher to clear areas for fellow Marines. It's great because the Corps found a way to make a grenade launcher use infinite ammo, allowing Jackson free reign to obliterate bad guy positions. Once landing zones are cleared and made, Jackson and team are tasked with bailing out other Marines in the city. Once they land, the team fights a bit, saves the Marines, and extracts. Plot twist, the Apache helicopter, which is a ferocious piece of weaponry that was helping you earlier on, gets shot down, forcing your team to follow the no man or woman left behind policy. Unfortunately, this is 2007, so allowing the player dialogue options doesn't really exist because I would say hell nah to that. The team lands and rescues the pilot just before a nuke is set off, taking out everyone near it, and driving one man to the brink of insanity, spoilers. Jackson, somehow still alive, wakes up in this destroyed city where he wanders the area, seeing the nuclear mushroom cloud in the distance. He, like so many others, dies because, radiation poisoning. Safehouse. Soap, Price, and Gaz team up with some Russian to locate Al-Assad. The plan is to interrogate him as to where he received the nuke mentioned earlier. Soap and team must go from building to building to locate Al-Assad. What's pretty neat is you can literally go to any building, which is out of order, so to speak, with Al-Assad being in any random building. So let's say you never clear out the church, then Al-Assad will be hanging out there, only to have Price. Oh shit, spoilers, my bad. Oh yeah, the team eventually, after killing what seemed to be the entire Russian army, ends up finding Al-Assad, only for Price too. Also, Price rudely answers Al-Assad's phone, only to reveal it's some dude named Zakhaev on the other end. Spoilers, these two have beef. All Ghillied Up. The best stealth mission in Call of Duty history, no cap at all. Flashback to the year 1996, the Cowboys were dem boys and won a championship. Well, that'll never happen again, so long as Rattle Me Bones is your owner. Not to mention, it was the year the N64 was released in America. God, what a time to be alive. Price and McMillan are tasked with unaliving Inram Zakhaev. To do this, Price and McMillan must sneak through Chernobyl while avoiding patrols and radiation. Oh, and you don't want to forget the dogs. Now, when I say sneak, that's merely an option. You can just go full force and blitz through everything in your path. This includes patrols or helicopters. Just know, the more bad Russians you alert, the harder the mission becomes, and the more negatively Macmillan reacts, such as various voice lines or kicking down doors. As you sneak, you're able to stealthily take out enemies, so long as you avoid detection doing it. Again, if you don't, Price and Macmillan get pounced on like a fumbled football. If you do stick to stealth, you can get iconic voice lines.
Oi, Susie.
That's how it's done.
Or have Macmillan's ass in your face for a full minute. While it can be rather intense, this mission is done vastly better than that piece of shit mission MW2. The mission offers something rarely done in video games, a well-paced stealth mission what is really an over-the-top action game. Anyway, Price and McMillan make it to the lookout point where Zakhaev is meeting with some other bad Russians. One shot, one kill. Use this brand new wind mechanic system to help determine bullet path. What is probably the most pain in the ass system in the entire game, but it's also the most satisfying because Zakhaev ends up doing his best LeBron James impression. You better recognize. Oh, you can also unalive Makarov, potentially preventing the events of Modern Warfare 2 and maybe this entire game. You get a neat little achievement out of it too. Now that Price and McMillan are compromised, they both repel from the building, which is wide with explosives, only for Price and McMillan to come under fire from a bunch of bad Russians. Both Price and McMillan utilize some of Dan Campbell's inspirational coaching to take down an Apache helicopter, which causes McMillan to succumb to the dreaded high ankle sprain. Shout out Cooper Cup. Price, now literally carrying dead weight, moves towards the extraction, fighting off bad Russians and dogs. Once at the Ferris wheel / extraction, Price and dead weight McMillan must fight off waves and waves of bad Russians. Eventually, extraction arrives, with Price and McMillan fleeing with Zakhaev presumably dead. Spoilers, he's not. Weathering the storm. Flash forward to present day with Soap and team setting up an ambush for advancing bad Russians. You have various ways of doing this, whether it be sniping, explosives, or doing your best tribute to Omaha Beach. Soap and team will slowly need to fall back to new positions as they become more and more overrun. This allows Soap to use a minigun on a crashed Blackhawk, set off explosives while bad Russians come up the hill, or launch javelins at incoming tanks, because, you know, the player character has to do everything. As time goes on, you use more taxpayer freedom, and you eventually extract at the bottom of the hill because why not do it all over again? Sins of the Father. Chase Zakhaev's son only for him to, you know, unalive himself. That's literally it. Also, Griggs fat shames you. Too bad Elon ruined Twitter, or else we could have just canceled him for it. Ultimatum. Not related to the ultimatum Giselle gave Tom Brady, the mission kicks off with Price, Gaz, Soap, and Griggs, who is somehow alive, parachuting behind enemy lines to infiltrate a nuclear facility. Griggs is blown off course, with Price, Gaz, and Soap having to rescue him. After some patrol eliminating, room clearing, and a bit of Griggs shrugging off some possible torture, Soap takes out the power utilizing C4, which leads the team going into the facility outside the nuke place. Fight more bad Russians and link up with a sniper team that is, I guess, supposed to provide some overwatch, and I don't know. As things end up going according to plan, the bad Russians launch off one of Trump's least favorite words.
He uses the N-word, the nuclear word.
All in. Like Tom Brady and the Patriots being down in the third quarter 28-3, Soap, Price, and Gaz must rally together to stop the N-words from reaching the eastern seaboard. Now inside the base, Soap and team must make their way to the other side of the base in order to get underground. Soap, being the typical do-everything silent hero protagonist, utilizes various weapons to clear the base such as RPGs, C4, and a good old-fashioned 5.56 to clear a path to the end of the base. Once on the other side, Griggs, Price, Gaz, and a bunch of others cut holes into the grating to rappel into the base from. War Room. Now fully all up inside the base, Soap, Price, and Griggs must navigate some ventilation shafts as the first step into the control room. You'll shockingly find the base littered with bad Russians who are quickly disposed of as Price shuts a bulkhead door as rockets are being set off, unaliving every single bad Russian and maybe morally wrong Russian in the area. What a piece of shit. As you get closer to the control room, you encounter more bad Russians, and witness Gaz's horrible door opening skills. Shout out to the developers for getting everyone amped up only to just be quickly taken down by the longest door opening of the century. Blow a hole in the wall into this control room, shut down the nuke, and make your way to the garage where Gaz and team are taking fire from more bad Russians, and then escape. Game over. Escaping from the base, Gaz, Price, Griggs, and a bunch of other guys come under fire from bad Russians. As Soap and company make their escape, you being Soap must eliminate any bad Russians in your way. You'll come under fire from an Apache helicopter that eventually blows up a bridge, causing the entire team to crash. As of now, you're holding your position against bad Russians until Kamarov arrives with help. Unfortunately, the oil tanker behind you explodes, knocking Soap unconscious. I need to apologize for the next segment, because I could cry. It is truly one of the most emotionally taxing parts of any video game I have ever played. Oh, I'm getting choked up just thinking about it. Soap regains consciousness with Griggs pulling him into the middle of bad Russian fire. I'm not sure why the fuck he did this. But Griggs whips out his LMG, only to be domed in the face by some bad Russians, soon to be followed suit by Gaz, who gets domed by Zakhaev. As all appears to be lost, Kamarov shows up to save the day. Price slides Soap a pistol, Soap then unalives a distracted Zakhaev, with Kamarov working to save Soap. Though Price appears to be dead, he's not, by the way. Spoilers for Modern Warfare 2. I mean, also, why would he be dead? Post-game indicates the missiles were just a test or something, blah blah blah, who cares. Mile High Club. Settle down, pervert, because it's not that kind of Mile High Club. Not sure who these characters are, nor do I care, but some random SAS race against the clock to retrieve some VIP. The name doesn't matter to you at all, but all you need to know is that you're on a plane with some bad guys who have guns and want to unalive you. So be sure you unalive them. Also, don't let the timer hit 0. Once you rescue the VIP, the team jumps out of the plane, with the said plane blowing up. And that's about it. I would love to hear what you have to say in the comment section below about Call of Duty 4. Do you find it playable or unplayable? Where do you rank it in your list of Call of Duty games? And if you enjoyed the video, great. Maybe consider leaving a like or even subscribe because it helps out the channel. And if you didn't, well, it's not getting much better than this. Thanks for watching, and well, bye.